Falcons Nation, Rise Up Nation, it's your boy, Jazzy Jeff. Real talk, no gimmicks. Bring that real Falcons talk to real Falcons fans. And I'm going to do a little something different this week because I feel like I don't believe in moral victories. Yeah, we fought hard. We still lost. You know, no Julio, no Hooper. The game was just sloppy on both sides of the ball. Matt Ryan sacked 9 times. And I feel like I'm not doing Falcons Nation justice if I just do a simple breakdown of the game because we all saw what happened. And we've already played this team, so there's no reason to further discuss. I want to talk about us and how we handle losses. So for this week, I want to try something different and break down how Dan Quinn handles a post-game press conference after a loss. The things he says, the underlying meanings and things he says, and some things that I found that weren't even true about things he said. And we'll come back and we'll discuss. So first, I want to start with this first clip, and then we'll talk about it. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button so you can receive future content. Now let's go.
I love the fight at the end, getting onside kicks, and not just one, but multiple, to give ourselves a fighting chance for it. Thought was huge, but at the end, not being able to capitalize on that, no silver lining. So glad to open up to your questions and talk about the game.
Now, Falcons Nation, you tell me, what word did you hear that was repeated a bunch of times in that clip? I'll tell you. Fight, 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 fight. All Dan Quinn talks about is the fight. Love the fight. Respect the fight. And I think he does this to deflect the fact that he's not coaching the team well. And he thinks as long as we put in a good-hearted effort, that makes up for losing. And in my opinion, it doesn't. And the thing that kills me is that Dan Quinn says this every single speech. Emotionless, robot, repetitive speeches about fight. In the beginning of the season, the first day of camp, when players first reported, Dan Quinn gave this whole preview about how he envisions the season to go. And it was all about how we're going to fight our asses off and we're going to leave nothing on the field and we're going to try our hardest and fight, fight, fight. And it's the same thing every single time. And if you put this in just real life application, picture a dude, right, who gets into a fight and he gets his ass whooped. And he comes back, he fights the same guy. He prepares the same way for the fight, gets his ass kicked again, comes back, ass kicked again. At some point, are you going to stop applauding this guy's fight and call him dumb because he's not changing anything? Maybe he's fighting the wrong person. Maybe his fighting style is wrong. Maybe his approach to the fight is wrong. Maybe he shouldn't be fighting in the first place. But you cannot come to the same fight with the same preparedness, with the same tools, and think the outcome is going to be different. It's like banging your head into a wall a million times and expecting one day the wall is just going to cave over. In the meantime, you got CTE and brain damage. I'm so sick of him saying, I love the fight with no results. What's the point? Why are we fighting for? I need to know why we're fighting. Your job is to encourage and motivate men to fight for you. And I don't see it out of Dan Quinn. I don't see it out of this team in particular. Before, when we had the horses, yeah, it was easy for Dan Quinn to say the fight. It was easy to play for them. But this year, I don't see it. And Dan Quinn needs to stop recycling that same speech and throw it in the garbage. A fight without results is just pointless violence. Anyways, let me take a deep breath. Let's get to this next clip, come back, and we'll continue to discuss.
Couldn't you discuss the offensive line's play? You lost Carpenter and then 9 sacks and a lot of hits again this week.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, over 2 weeks, that's a lot of sacks to take. So at the end of it, we've got to, find ways to not allow that to happen. That's too many. Usually there's where there's, chips or things to go outside, and you saw some of that. So, like I said, we'll look back to it tonight, whether there's all sorts of ways, screens or, chipping on your way out and protection. But I'll look at the whole thing. Sometimes, whether it was, not open and you held on to it too long, that's not on the line. Other times getting beat at as an offensive lineman, that's on the line. So
now in that last clip, you saw that Dan Quinn was talking about ways to protect Matt Ryan better. As you know, he took 9 sacks in that game versus the Saints. He mentioned chipping with the tight end. He mentioned screens. He mentioned the offensive line playing better so the quarterback doesn't have to hold on to the ball longer. Now, did he forget to mention that Matt Ryan threw the ball 50 times? Did he forget to mention that the game before in our loss to the Buccaneers, Matt Ryan threw the ball 45 times? Did he forget to mention that we didn't run the ball more than 18, 20 times? No, he did not. Guess how many times Matt Ryan threw the ball versus the Panthers and the Saints the first time? Less than 40. Less than 35. How many times did we run the ball? More than 17. More than 18 times. How many times did we run the ball versus the Buccaneers? Our leading rusher, Quadri Olson, had 8 carries total the whole game. Not one half, the whole game. Yesterday, how many carries did we have? Barely over 15. That was Devontae Freeman. You wonder why they're keying off on us? We're not attempting to rushing the ball. You talk about screens. Are we ever a screening team? Are we like the New Orleans Saints or the Baltimore Ravens? No, we hardly ever use screens. And when we do, they're down in distances that are so obvious we're running a screen. Or you'll run a play where the defense is clearly sitting in a zone in the flat and you'll still throw the screen anyways, knowing he's sitting right there. Makes no sense to call a play in that play calling situation. So, Dan Quinn, you are the coach. I understand we have an offensive coordinator, but you override him. You tell him, hey, run the ball more. As far as chipping with the tight end, we tried it a couple times. And you know what happened? We don't have Austin Hooper out there. We have Jaden Graham out there. Jaden Graham cannot handle a Cam Jordan. Jaden Graham cannot handle a Shaq Barrett. And every time I saw them try the chip, Matt Ryan was getting dominated because Jake Matthews and Jaden Graham couldn't block for Matt Ryan. The chip wasn't working. So, what happens? What else do you do? You think Jazzy Joe, chipping with the running back, right? Okay. Every time they try to chip with Brian Hill, who we love giving a chance to, he was getting steamrolled and hurt. Ito Smith, who we loved to, every time he tried to block back in the day, was getting steamrolled and getting Matt Ryan sacked. Quadri Olson can actually pick up a blitz. Why? Because he's big enough to. But do we use him enough? No, we don't. Who we got back in now? Devontae Freeman. And Dan Quinn loves Devontae Freeman so much, he refuses to admit that he is not a great run blocker. Not a great run blocker. Screening, sometimes he's not the best either on that. So these are changes that Dan Quinn, you are in charge of fixing. Don't give me this nonsense of, I have to look at the tape and see where we went wrong. You know what went wrong. You chose to let Matt Ryan drop back 45, 50 times. You chose to not run the football. It wasn't like we were getting blown out early. The game was within grasp. But you chose to have our quarterback in harm's way. So that's on you, Dan Quinn. You're the coach. Matt Ryan trusts you. One of the knocks on Matt Ryan is that he trusts coaches so much, he refuses to change the play calling. In the Super Bowl, one of the criticism he made, why did Matt Ryan take those 2 sacks against Dante Hightower in the Super Bowl? Because he said he trusted the play calling of his coach to run that play instead of overriding it and switching to a run. So he trusts you that much, and this is what you show for him. This is your appreciation for him. You get him sacked 9 times. That pisses me off. That is on you. Don't blame this offensive line. Blame yourself. Anyways, we'll get into this next clip, and this one really pisses me off because it's about my man Quadri. So let's get into it, and I'll show you the next clip, and we'll come back and discuss.
Ask a question. Quadri Ellison seemed to have success the last couple of weeks running on short yardage. And you guys had a 4th down, I think, in the 1 from the 2.
Right.
Decided not to use him. Also, in another 4th down series, decided not to use him. Was there a particular scheme or something you saw in New Orleans where you decided that he would not be as successful?
Well, yeah, I can speak for the first one. Sometimes you'll call, a run-pass option there, if they stack the box or, give a favorable look for the pass. So that's what was the case on that one. Wasn't, anything more than that. But, yeah, he has shown, where there's some things that he can nail and deliver for.
Now this one really got me heated because he insults my intelligence. Dan Quinn says, you heard him. Sometimes on that play, we go with a pass run option, and it looked favorable to the pass because they're stacking the box. I went back and I looked at that very play, the 4th and 1, where they refused to run Quadri Olson, because you heard that reporter. Quadri Olson has been successful in short yardage. Why didn't you utilize him? Twice in 4th down and short situations. And Dan Quinn's excuse was the defense was in a pass beneficial play calling, and they were stacking the box. So I go back and I watch. We were in shotgun. Devontae Freeman was on the left side of Matt Ryan. First of all, we didn't even run a play option. Matt Ryan didn't even fake it. He just threw. Number two, the defense was not in a pass beneficial defense. They had two safeties in the back. They had two corners playing man-to-man on the outside, and they had only 7 in the box. Last time I checked, a stacked box is 8 men in the box. It was soft enough for Quadri to pick up 1 fucking yard. So Dan Quinn is lying on that part. Lying on that part. And if you are going to use a run-pass option, you're really going to threaten Devontae Freeman, who we know cannot push the pocket, who we know is not a 4th down, get that 1 yard running back. He's too small. We all know this. He fumbles a lot. We all know this. And you got that big monster back there and you don't utilize him on 4th and 1, that's your fault, Dan Quinn. Don't blame anyone else on that play calling. Matt Ryan had nothing to work with on that play calling. Because the moment he hiked the ball, the 2 safeties were bracketing and the corners were underneath playing man. So don't tell me that was a pass beneficial pass defense. It was not. It was actually inviting the run. And we didn't do what we were supposed to do. We threw it right into the teeth of the defense. That's on Dan Quinn. That pisses me off how much they underutilize Quadri Olson, especially in his field of expertise, short yardage. We know he can move the pile. Anyways, we're going to see this next clip, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss again.
Not to have the performances that we'd like, but at the end of it, we recognize where we're at. We got a 4-game block coming up. Coming off the bye, we knew we had 4 games that was going to finish on tonight. We still got a bunch of Division I's to go. So for the players, we'll approach it in the same way. Another 4-game block coming, and we certainly have some areas that we need to improve upon.
Now, if you know anything about Dan Quinn, he evaluates the season in 4 blocks. That's 4 games a block, 4 blocks, 4 times 4 is 16. So remember, we started off the season 1-7. Couldn't win a game. So you're telling me in block 1, that's 4 games. Block 2, that's 8 games. Where was the reevaluation? Where were the changes made? We all know we didn't make any changes until after the bye. We didn't make any changes until the end of the Seattle Seahawks game. So what was he doing in those first 2 blocks? He said he always reevaluates after every block. And clearly he didn't make any changes whatsoever. The only thing he did was make simple adjustments like trading Sanu. That's it. That wasn't a crucial part of our game. It was the defense. It was fixing the defense. It was you relinquishing your play calling duties. And he didn't do that until block 3. That is totally unacceptable in my opinion. Another reason why Dan Quinn needs to go. He's talk, and where's the action? Where are the changes? Where is you willing to get off your ego and make the change? That is what frustrates me so much about Dan Quinn. Well, that's all I got for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed my video as I went through the things that frustrate me about Dan Quinn. And as you can see, he is status quo as usual, as I said in other videos on my channel. Another reason why I want Thomas Dimitroff gone as well. He's the same way. He believes in the same type of philosophies, things that are not going to win on this team. And it's just time for a new voice in the room. I also want Jeff Albrecht to be promoted to defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris to stay on to coach our secondary, and Dirk Cutter also needs to go as well because his offensive play calling is stale. And it looks like we're not going to tank because we're playing Chris Lindstrom's returning back to practice, Austin Hooper's returning back to practice, Julio Jones returning back to practice and probably going to play. So it looks like it's just full steam ahead trying to win the rest of these games to keep our head up and try to save Dan Quinn's job, but I don't think it's enough. So, Falcons Nation, you tell me in the comments section below, do you like Dan Quinn's press conferences, or is there things that he says that truly just frustrate you? Do you want Thomas Dimitroff gone? Who do you think should be promoted to a defensive coordinator? Do you think we should get someone from the outside, or you think we should continue to be the same guys we have? Let me know in the comment section below. Please, subscribe to my channel for future content. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, Falcons Nation, we rise up. Peace, y'all.